Oh. If you're about to get a cat, pause that shopping list. It's really not so much what to get as it is when to get it or if you're even gonna need it. Here's the list I wish I had when shopping for my daughter based off priority. Okay, so our first category is important. This means that you need these things before your cat even steps foot in the house. So I knew from the start that I wanted to give my cat a mix of wet and dry food. Obviously, I'm not like a cat expert or cat nutritionist or anything like that, but I would say go with wet food if you had to pick just one. What I will say though is that wet food does not need to be expensive. The brand that I get my cat is Special Kitty. I would say they have a pretty good variety and they're 57 cents a can, which is amazing. And for dry food, this is the one I get her, but I will say I'm planning on switching to the one that controls allergens. If you're gonna feed wet food, chances are that you're not gonna use up the entire can per feeding, so what I would say you definitely need is a wet food lid. This just keeps whatever food you don't use fresh in the fridge. For food bowls, there's literally so many cute ones out there. I got mine at, I think, TJ Maxx. The only thing you need to keep in mind is that they can get whisker fatigue from bowls that are too deep. So you should be focusing on getting elevated bowls to help with the strain in their neck and making sure they're flat so that their whiskers aren't touching the bowl constantly when they're eating. Her food bowls are ceramic, but I got her a stainless steel water bowl. I know there's a lot of discourse around getting a water fountain because they're not very good about drinking water. Personally, I feel that my cat is very good about drinking water. I measure how much she drinks every single day. The only thing is I do have to put ice cubes for her to be interested in her water, so I use like the crush feature on my fridge and she loves it. So yeah, just whatever your cat needs. If your cat isn't drinking water very well, then yeah, I would suggest that you get a water fountain eventually. But just to start off, I got a stainless steel water bowl. And then the worst part about having a cat, but it doesn't have to be if you do it right, litter. This is a litter I use. I love it. I think the clumping is really good. I think the odor control is really good. The only thing I will say though is that the tracking can be bad. I have a pretty good setup going where I have like mat surrounding the litter box to control the tracking, but sometimes my cat likes to jump out of the litter box, so that could pull out a lot of the litter with her. I'm working on controlling the tracking even more, but I would highly recommend it still. This litter lasted me about a month and a half. I change it every 7 to 10 days and I do 10 pounds per change. You're also gonna need a litter box and a scooper. When I first brought my cat home, I just got whatever cheap one from the store, but I did end up investing in a cute one. Next, you're gonna need a good carrier to transport your cat around. I had been a dog person my whole life, so I didn't know that you couldn't just hold them in your arms and take them places. They're definitely gonna jump out of your arms. This is something that you're not gonna think of initially, but it's very, very important. A lot of your household cleaners are not safe for cats. You do not want to learn this the hard way, so please, please, please do your research. This is the one I use. I only clean my floors and my counters when my cat is in a separate room, and I go over every single surface with water twice. On to our next category. This is soon. The reason you're not going to need most of these right away is because your cat probably won't allow it. Building trust with your cat is super important, especially when you first bring them home, so I wouldn't suggest overwhelming them with trying to brush their teeth and clip their claws first thing. But those things are very important, so here's what you're going to need. For teeth care, you're going to need an enzymatic toothpaste and a toothbrush. I use this one by Arm & Hammer. I'm not sure how many people do this, but I brush her teeth every single day. I didn't know this, but all that gunk can build up on their teeth within 24 to 48 hours, and you can get some really nasty vet bills from not brushing their teeth. You are still going to need a vacuum and clean up their fur a lot, but you save yourself so much work by brushing their fur as much as I'll allow it. My cat literally loves her little brush. Look, she's literally coming over right now. For taking care of their nails, I know it can seem so scary and so overwhelming, but I promise it's really not as difficult as it seems. I use these nail clippers. They're super cheap and they were super easy to use. They're pretty much like scissors. For scratchers, I got one for my cat and she took forever to use it. I think I've had her for 2 months now and she maybe started using it last week. Of course, you don't want your cat scratching your furniture, so I would just say if you ever see them scratching something that they're not supposed to, like calmly pick them up and just place them on the scratcher so they understand. Cats don't need to be washed very often, but if they ever have the occasional mess, you'd want a cat-friendly shampoo. Just remember not to ever use dog products because a lot of the ingredients in those aren't safe for cats. I got my cat so many different toys. I got her a bunch of cute little pink ones that she hated. Some eventually grew on her, but I would say don't invest too much on toys, and there's a lot of DIY ones out there that they're gonna love even more than the expensive ones. If you are gonna feed dry food, I would suggest getting measuring cups so that you can feed precise calories because you don't want to overfeed them, especially not with dry food. And of course, treats. I have literally so many for her and I love buying her treats. I've recently been teaching her how to sit with her dental treats and she's doing a really good job. These are the ones that I tend to use when training her, teaching her new tricks, or trying to correct certain behavior. They're the catnip flavored ones and they also clean her teeth and freshen her breath. She's like giving me looks because I have the churu, but she loves these. The churu I tend to give her when I clip her nails so she's not so stressed and she associates it with something positive. And then these two, they are more like treats, but I treat them as toppers. I put them on her food to add like a little extra calorie boost or to just introduce her to a new food. She can be super picky at times. I will never stop raving about these. I see so many people recommending raw freeze-dried treats. Just for me personally, it worries me that they're not fully cooked and I'm handling them myself. So I think these are a really nice alternative because they're fully cooked before they're freeze-dried. The next category is if you want it and if you need it. Okay, so the first thing is an enzymatic cleaner because you do need to be cleaning your litter box every 7 to 10 days. I think Dawn dish soap works just fine, but I was going to look into getting an enzymatic cleaner because I think it might just be a little bit more effective and easier. Then we also have these waste bags, which I think make cleaning her litter box so much easier. You just put whatever you scoop in here and then you can store it in your trash can for the day and then go take out your trash. Well, I say that because I live in an apartment, so I go every night to take out my trash. And then I don't use these too frequently, but I am severely allergic to cats, so occasionally I give her a wipe with these and it makes managing my allergies so much easier. On that same note, I do have an air purifier, which I feel like catches a lot of the allergens and makes my experience living with a cat so much more enjoyable. And I know a lot of people recommend having an air filter even if you're not allergic because it catches a lot of fur. I haven't seen a lot of fur get caught in mine, but I'm sure maybe some of the bigger ones in different parts of the room would. I already showed you guys what I use as toppers, but I am looking into using salmon oil or different types of toppers just to give her a little extra boost to her meals. A lot of those toppers that you're seeing on those Feed My Cat With Me TikToks, which are super cute and I love watching every single time, but they do just kind of contribute to overconsumption sometimes. Don't throw off your cat's diet. Don't throw off what balance the food that you're giving them already provides. But if you do have the means to just provide them a little extra boost to their diet, I would say go for it. Okay, so next, cat trees. I was literally so ready to drop $100 on a cute little pink cat tree for her, and it turned out that she is more of like a hider. She likes little nooks. She likes like tunnels. So I would say get to know your cat first, see if they do like climbing, see if they feel more comfortable in taller spaces, or if maybe you should get them little tunnels, like those little donuts that they can climb through. Another thing I got her that she absolutely hated was a little bed. She pretty much refuses to sleep anywhere if it's not next to me, like on my stomach or my arm, which is super cute, don't get me wrong, but yeah, just see if they're going to be a very clingy, cuddly cat so that you don't bother buying them the bed. And last, cats do need mental enrichment too, so if you have the means, I would say get them a puzzle feeder. I'm looking into getting her I don't know how to explain it, like where they have to like paw at the little, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining, but they have to like paw to get the treat. Okay, and then our final category is technically uncategorized. I put both of these two under this one, not because they're not important, because they are super, super important, but because I think you need to do a very good amount of research into them before you just splurge and select one. So the first is flea and tick preventative. You might think that because you're keeping your cat indoors, they don't need it, but they do. You can bring in parasites on your clothes, on your backpack, on your purses, all sorts of things, so you just really don't want an infestation happening in your house. I'm looking into getting a vet prescribed one, but I am going to get her a store-bought one in the meantime. I just have to do a really good amount of research because I hear so many horror stories. So I would suggest you do the same, do a good amount of research, consult your vet. And last, pet insurance. So I currently have Embrace Pet Insurance and I'm in the process of submitting her medical records, but you never know what might happen. Those vet bills are so insanely high, and you don't want to be caught in an unfortunate situation where you can't afford pet care or where you're going to have to pay an insane amount out of pocket. You want to be able to protect your baby. If you stayed all the way through, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing and liking. I post all sorts of content. I haven't found a very concrete niche yet, but I do know that I want to post my cat a lot. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.